Welcome everyone to the Elephants on Business podcast, improving your small business journey one episode at a time. Today's episode, we're going to talk about your app stack, technology, and how it can really improve your small business journey. So I'm going to give a big apologies in advance. Our office is currently going through some renovations, so you might hear a dog, you might hear some tools, you might hear me and Oz falling over and laughing. Yeah. But welcome, Oz.
It's great to be back.
It is indeed, Oz. Today, really, one of the biggest things Oz and I are passionate about in small business is productivity. And one of the biggest productivity gains we've seen in our business is committing to the technology side of the business.
Yeah, like that app stack that we call it, right? So multiple applications to make your life a little bit easier as you sort of, process information for clients and things like that.
And it's such a big change, obviously, coming out of a big business, or if you've come from other industries, or whenever you start your business, small business journey, you essentially have no infrastructure. I remember when I started, I had a Gmail, like it was my personal Gmail. I had a pen and a paper and my phone, and that was it. And over the years, you want to try and build your business, the flashy word is scalable, but you want to try and build your business to use tools and applications to help you manage your time better, manage certain processes in your business better.
And it's very easy to just replicate what you saw in your previous role as well. So like we saw in our previous role, they have certain applications. They might be using Outlook, for example, or something like a My, or very like a little bit older sort of system. And it's like you go out on your own, and you sometimes look back and you're like, well, should I replicate it? And it's like, you shouldn't. You have to start from maybe that piece of paper it starts off there, and then you start building out your applications.
It's quite funny, if you think about it, and I think a lot of small business owners will have this predicament that comes up. I essentially left a big organization. I'm sure you left a business because you didn't like the way it was run and the way things worked and how there was cracks in the system.
Yeah.
But then when you start your business, you end up just copying it, which is funny because you left for a reason, and now you're replicating the same problems again. And I found that I was copying certain ways of doing things without figuring out what was the best way.
Yeah, starting from that like fresh piece of paper and going, okay, which way should I go about it, to solve these problems?
Because at the start, everything is changeable, everything's adjustable in small business, and even 6 years on, 4 or 5 years on, you can change systems, but understanding that technology can play an enormous part in profitability of a small business is the key takeaway from this episode.
Yeah.
And we're going to go through our top apps that we use. And obviously our apps are very much based for our business. For professional services, we don't have inventory, we don't have cost of goods sold, we don't have a whole bunch of things that certain other businesses use. So we're wanting to share our apps because it's just nice to know what other businesses use. I think it's quite intriguing. I look at YouTube videos and podcasts about different apps that we use.
Yeah, and I think those type of apps, like those inventory management, maybe timesheets for your staff, employees when they check in, check out, if you're running afternoon shifts, those type of apps can potentially plug into, some of these applications that we're going to go through today anyway as well. And
so I'll start off with, I guess, I'm not a technology kind of person, but I'll start off with, there's kind of high level, boxes that you can dive into as a small business. And it's kind of like there is the Microsoft world, and there is the Google world, and there is the Apple world.
Yeah.
And those big businesses they want you to buy into their whole system.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes your industry will push you to a certain system, like banking and accounting and finance, very much Excel, Microsoft Office driven.
Yeah, Outlook. Yeah.
So a lot of people are dragged towards the Microsoft Office world of things. Creatives obviously out there love the Apple ecosystem, the Final Cut Pro and all that kind of stuff. We decided to go down the Google path. I don't know why. I think it was pretty much because I used a Gmail and I just loved using Chrome.
Yeah.
So our kind of whole business or our tech stack is built off what plugs into Chrome.
Yeah, so all the extensions and add-ons into Chrome enables us to run all these other apps that we're going to go through today as well.
Everything in our business is linked to our Chrome. We treat Chrome as kind of our desktop. Everyone in the business gets trained when they start.
You just click on Chrome first.
Open Chrome, have your favorites, have your little applications at the top. if you're logging into certain softwares, log in through your Gmail, which is
Yes.
obviously Google, and that's where we start. And Chrome has, there's a main one that we're starting off with,
Yes.
has a lot of good and bads. It is energy heavy on your laptop.
Yeah, RAM is very high usage, especially when you open up you've got those multiple tabs open. It slows your machine down a little bit.
But for us, I have just found it really easy to use. I have found it very straightforward to think about things. It's quite transferable. Oz is using a Windows-based laptop. I'm using a Mac. People use different laptops in our business, but Chrome is agnostic to all of that.
Yeah.
If I go on holiday and I have to go to an internet cafe or something, I can just log into my Chrome profile and use like two-factor authentication and things like that to get me into my little world. I don't know, Oz, how have you found it?
And I think that it's that whole mobility of Chrome as well. Like if you were to change laptops, something happens to your laptop, you can always just, open up another laptop, as you said, log into your Google Chrome profile.
And it solves the problem.
And then you've got all your bookmarks again. You've got, your LastPass that comes on, and all, you've got all your accounts active.
It's such an important thing. The reason I think we talk about Chrome a lot is I am like anti-installing applications to my computer. I'm super anti it because you're right. Computer breaks down or the battery dies or something happens. If I have any issues with my laptop, I can log onto an iPad, just open up Chrome.
Yeah.
I can just go onto Oz's laptop, open up Chrome while he's still got his whole thing there and just log in as Shahan. I reckon I'm 90% where I need to be.
Yeah, that's right.
I got my Gmail, which is the next one we'll talk about. I've got all the other little add-ons. I'm kind of firing away.
Yeah.
So I think Chrome is our preferred one. And we kind of suggest it heavily for professional services. I know a lot of professional service businesses out there dive right into Microsoft Outlook. I've found Outlook to be very clunky when you grow and you need to start to share inboxes and pass work around different team members. Chrome has a lot greater, lot greater range.
And it comes back down to what you were saying before. Like with the Outlook software, you have to actually install it on your laptop.
Yep.
Log into your account. There's always like sometimes issues logging into the account.
Yeah,
there's all these problems, whereas Chrome, it's available anywhere. So a laptop, an iPad, whatever you need, you can simply just download Chrome browser.
And you're off and running.
And you're off and running, as you said, yeah.
And so I guess plugging on from Chrome.
Yeah, so that's number one, and then the rest will sort of plug in, right?
Number two is obviously our email kind of system. And if we're in the Google world, we are going to Gmail. Gmail is, for me, just fantastic. I use it in my Chrome browser. It's like the first tab that I open. It's so easy to log into all the other apps that I need to. It's fantastic for spam. Like I get minimal spam that comes through. Yeah. Security is unbelievable. I've got two-factor authentication. I can go overseas and get text messages. I love Gmail. And I'm a big Gmail shortcut fan. Like you can archive emails, you can respond to emails, you can use all these kind of little mini things, snooze emails, dismiss emails. You get kind of reminders, and it's just easy to look at. It's very simple and compact.
Yeah, and then it's got the ability when you're typing up an email, it sort of gives you suggestions of what to type as well based on what you were saying in previous emails. It sort of learns
predicting what to do.
Yeah, what to do. So it saves a bit of time in that aspect. I mean, it's once again super mobile. Yep. So you can use it on your mobile. Mm-hmm. Once if your laptop for some reason's gone and you need to put it on a desktop or another laptop, super easy again. And it's just fantastic.
And it's that whole concept of even if I don't have Chrome and I'm in another country and I have to use Bing, Microsoft Edge, Mozilla, whatever it is, I can log into my Gmail. And the reason I don't like applications like Outlook is when I log into Gmail on Oz's laptop, my laptop, any kind of desktop, looks the same. I create a sense of I'm at work. Yeah. And I know what to do and I know where my folders are and whatnot. So that's Gmail is kind of our preferred email system. I know Microsoft Outlook and Teams and that whole ecosystem has done amazing things in recent times, but I don't see us ever going away from Gmail.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that mobility and just having the ability to open up your laptop anywhere is what is a great
And
benefit there.
And so before we go on to the next one, I'll talk also why we like the Gmail Chrome is when you're growing. So like right now, we're very fortunate. Business is going really, really well. I think we're nearly up to 20 staff, which is amazing. 20 offshore. If you need to create users, manage users, create info create hello
that one portal.
It's one Google portal. And I go in, I can manage users, I can suspend users, I can delete users, I can transfer data. It's very intuitive when you're growing, and HR is an important thing when you're growing. And so the ease to just go, oh, John's starting tomorrow. I can get all his stuff set up. I can set up his laptop. I can just log him into Chrome. And when they start, they kind of are working straight away. I remember when I had previous jobs, the first week was training. There's always IT issues.
And then the other thing is like sometimes, you don't have your password. No one knows what the password is. It's simple on your Google profile. You can just go reset password.
Yeah.
Forces the reset and then it's done,
So that's one big thing I like. It's very scalable. The next one is a big favorite of because we do a lot of personal clients.
Right?
Yeah. Zoom.
So it's become quite useful, obviously, during the COVID period, like where everyone was forced to work from home and things like that. We were obviously using it prior to that, but, we're using it quite a bit now, obviously, with the offshore team and, doing our workflow using Zoom and, sharing ideas via Zoom and things like that, sharing your screen, recording your screen as well, like for training. Videos. And if you do a training session, you might as well click the record button and, it captures everything you're saying and what you're doing on the screen. And then at least then you've got something to look back on, or when a new staff member joins, those videos are there based on the training sessions.
And people listening out there might just go, what the hell's going on, Shahan? You're all about Google infrastructure. Why are you using Google Meets versus Zoom? And we often have that debate in here, but recently the reason we're fortunate that we took Zoom is at the start of the kind of COVID era, Google Meets was really shit. Like it was just not good. So we just dived onto Zoom. But now actually we ported all our phone numbers in Australia onto Zoom.
Yes.
So our staff overseas can call from a quasi-Australian number and we get charged Australian rates. I can manage phone numbers. New staff member comes, I can allocate a phone number. We have unfortunately cut out that middle IT admin man that would manage phone numbers and 1300 numbers and all that kind of drama by using Zoom Zoom meetings, they call it, and then there's Zoom phone.
Yeah.
So Zoom is a big one for us. To be honest, it's quite costly. It's $20-$30 a person. Then you add a phone number on top. I look at our profit and loss and I'm like, oh, geez, Zoom is a big number. So we might explore other avenues if things get different. But for now,
it's ticking,
clients know it.
It's ticking those two things, which is the phone and the ability to do meetings in one go. And it does link into these next couple of apps as well, where you can send the Zoom link out automatically and things like that.
And I feel like people just accept Zoom. They just accept Zoom better. It's like, back in the day when you were like, Google, the word Google has become a word now. It means search engine.
Yeah, whereas there was Yahoo and stuff like that. And now it's like Google. Yep, everyone's just like
Google stuff. I Google stuff, right? Zoom is also a word for video meetings. I'll just Zoom you, So no one goes, I'll just Google Meet you.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's a lot of less friction. People get that. That's just a weird quirk of mine, but Zoom's a big one. The next one that we talk about is like in professional services, it's all about managing your day, managing your time. And for a lot of small businesses, it's probably a big thing.
Yeah.
And client interactions and calendar management is just like this huge learning curve in small business.
Yeah. Especially when you don't have an admin, or you don't have the ability to potentially hire one at the start. It's very hard. Like you took that stuff for granted in the past, potentially when there was like meetings already booked for you, and your calendar like almost taken care of.
And you just had a job back in the day, and then like all this stuff around you in the business happened. Where now you're the whole business. So we use an app called Calendly, and to be honest, it's probably one of my favorite. There goes the dog.
It's my favorite app, I would say.
I reckon it's one of my favorite apps because essentially it cuts out the when can you meet, when can we have a Zoom, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock Tuesday, like all that back and forth.
Yeah, going up and down multiple times over email to just lock in a time.
Sometimes a 15-minute call would take you 3 hours to book in, or someone would call my mobile, I'd miss it, I'd call back, and like days would go past. if that happens multiple times, your day is just cooked.
Yeah, and then sometimes they want to reschedule, and then it's like, well, they send you an email back. Oh, sorry, I need to reschedule. When are you available again?
Anyone out there,
It's
any
just a
business
problem.
owner that deals with clients face to face from a time basis, if you don't have Calendly, I urge you to go sign up. It is $9. I will transfer you $9 just to have a go at it. It will change your life. Essentially, it's just a booking system.
Yeah,
You link it to your Google Calendar or your whatever calendar you have, and it shows people out there available times, and you have full control. I don't have any. I have no meeting policy from Monday morning till lunchtime and Friday afternoons because I want to get ahead of my day. I can book in public holidays. I can book in my holiday. I can say it's a 20-minute meeting, an hour meeting, a 2-hour
it's the
meeting.
flexibility of creating your own meetings for like desired sort of tasks, right? So like for us, we've got the individual tax return meetings.
Yeah, it's
and
even
then
better
they
on
can
your side.
Book, certain days. I mean, this can even work for maybe tradies or something. You can probably have days
Jobs.
where it's like you're just doing job sites, and then you can only get booked in for potentially those days. So like, there's a lot of flexibility
And there's
in time
just so
in
many
those links.
things you can set questionnaires like, oh, do you want to meet in person? Yep. Well, you can only do that 1 week from now.
Yeah.
A phone call you can take now. It's just, I found it to be the biggest change in our business. I think I used it 2 years ago, and we've now we tell clients the actual fastest way to get a hold of us is just to book it into my calendar.
Yeah.
Because I will call on the dot, and I'm very vigilant of calling on the dot because client goes to the effort of booking in a time, and I call on the dot. They know that, it is the fastest way to get you home.
Yeah.
I booked in at 9:22, and I call on the dot. My laptop goes berserk and tells me to call.
Yes.
It is the best thing.
And the beauty behind it as well is it also links to obviously your Gmail, your Zoom, because you got all the links within them. And when you've set up a Zoom Calendly link, it sends out the Zoom invite with the calendar,
It's very
which
simple.
gets like locked in. So you don't have to worry about, where's the link or where to go. And clients find that very easy. They just look back at the calendar invite, the Zoom link's there, and it's done.
And, we've even taken it to the next level of having our calendar on our website now. So if you want to book a time, chat with us.
Yeah.
But then to access the calendar, we need a questionnaire from you. So you have to tell out why you want to talk, some information. It's just, I could not recommend it highly.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The next one we're going to talk about is probably an unknown one. It's called Hiver. And Hiver is an app. I don't even know how to explain it.
It's like an add-on, I would say, to Gmail. Right?
Yeah.
So it beefs up Gmail in the sense of, it gives Gmail additional functionality.
Superpowers.
Yeah, so it's just like it's basically Gmail on steroids.
It is. No, it really is. And I tell you the key thing that we use it for, as your team gets bigger, in your head, you'll start to have, I guess, what we call divisions.
Yeah.
You might have an accounting division, a sales division, a marketing division, a HR division. And what Hiver allows you to do is essentially create shared inboxes. As you get busier and busier, what you will find yourself doing is forwarding email to start
creating all these chains.
John, please do this. Stephanie, please do this. Steve, please do this. And you forward emails. Now that in theory sounds great. You forward it out of your inbox. It goes to John's inbox. You assume John's going to do the work. Now the difficulty is, what if you have a team of people doing the same job and it needs to go into an inbox?
Yeah, or like the team needs to do certain parts of that job potentially.
So Hiver allows you to create inboxes. So you can have a sales inbox, an accounting inbox, a processing inbox, a bookkeeping inbox. And from your Gmail, you can share that email into a certain inboxes and everyone gets notified. So if I'm working in a business and I have 3 admin support staff, and whenever work comes in, I don't have the ability to talk to each of them and tell them, okay, what's your workload look like? Here you go.
Yeah,
I would create a shared inbox with, just call it admin.
Yeah.
And an email comes in, it's an admin task. I can share it to that inbox. All 3 of them get notified. And I can put notes next to it saying, can you please do this? Please do this. They can comment back. It's steroids.
Yeah, and then they basically pick it up and then they'll assign it to themselves or they'll assign it to a particular member within that team. And then from that, you can always look back at that email and see, okay, who did that job get assigned to, or who did that email get assigned to? And then if they've responded to that email to the client or they've actioned whatever they need to, you can always see the history there as well, where they've put some notes And
Yeah.
if there's
And
further communication, it's all within that one email link trail.
And it's all about transparency as well. I can dive into that inbox right from my Google Chrome browser. I can dive into that inbox and see all the emails in there and who's allocated and who's working on it. We unfortunately are a slave to our emails. That is just the nature of our business. Emails come in, we have to action them. And so we've trained ourselves to use email as also a bit of a to-do list.
Yes.
And Hiver is just a fantastic way to allocate to-do items to multiple people without forwarding and losing track.
Yes. And then the other additional benefit of Hiver is you've got the email templates.
Yes.
So we can create certain email templates for certain tasks, right? So like on the accounting side, we have, a BAS completed one, an ITR completed one, all these email templates that are standard, and you can simply generate a templated email within like 2 clicks of a button, and you've got your template there, and then it's a great efficiency tool for that reason. So you're not having to let me see when I last sent an email like this, maybe copy and paste and do all this crap,
And that's why we talk about it as a great way for like your support services, like that have general inquiries that come in. So like accounting, invoicing, sales, admin, just check out Hiver. And I think this is where we have found Gmail to really excel. One of the biggest difficulties I found with Outlook was like the shared inbox was just hard to manage. So having that,
you never know who picks up.
It just didn't work. And so Gmail and stacked on top of that is the lovely steroids of Hiver is fantastic. We'll keep going down the list. The next one obviously is document storage, document management, Dropbox.
Yeah, Dropbox.
Big fan of Dropbox. It's a hard one. Obviously, I started on Dropbox 6-7 years ago, and again, the reason was because back then Google Drive was just terrible. It wasn't safe. It wasn't known. You couldn't really like allocate certain folders to certain people. Dropbox had a lot more administrative functionality, and so obviously with an offshore team, we want them to only see certain files, certain parts of the business, marketing. You don't want accounting seeing finance clients, finance seeing accounting clients. You don't want marketing seeing any of this kind of stuff. You don't want our offshore team seeing certain parts.
That's right.
As directors, we've also got business files that we don't want anyone to see. It's a big matrix, and Dropbox makes that just super easy.
And once again, it's super mobile, right? So like you can use it within a Chrome browser, or you can also install it onto your laptop. Obviously we have it installed, but worst case, something happens to the laptop again.
Chrome browser,
log in with your Gmail. It's super easy to log into. All your files are there. It gets uploaded. The safety net of, if someone deletes a file, you can always go back and retrieve it within, a certain time limit. It's fantastic because of that. And then also, removing people, access staff or adding on staff is very simple too.
And again, in terms of just safety and security, there's a lot of suspicious reporting, transfer of documents, you can like lock a lot of things. So we really, really love Dropbox. Client requesting client files. There's a lot of features we don't use about Dropbox, and I think we need to dive in a little bit more. But Dropbox, one.
Should we go to LastPass next?
Yeah, we'll go LastPass,
which is also another add-on, which can go into your Chrome browser. Essentially, LastPass is a system we use to have login details and password details to certain applications. The beauty behind LastPass is you can share certain folders, which staff members can use the access or the username and login details, but they don't actually have the ability to see the password. So it gives us the sense of additional security on that end. And then also, you only need to know one master password for ourselves, and then once you're in LastPass, you've got the access to all your other passwords.
I use LastPass personally.
Every
person out there somewhere in their lifetime had an Excel file that with all the list of things and had all the passwords, and you might go, I'm going to put it in star, and I won't, I'll put the last 2 digits. Is what I used to do. It just became dangerous. We have a lot of finance applications. I need staff to use certain applications without having access to all the admin features, and LastPass allows for that.
And then generally, like a lot of people use the same password on all the applications, whereas LastPass gives you a little warning saying you've used that same password. Maybe you can get it to generate a password for you, which will save it in there, and it's just a combination of letters and numbers. It's very secure, and it gets assigned and it's done.
Yeah, ultimately that's a really, really valid point. Ultimately, people use the same password because they assume they have to commit it to memory. The concept of LastPass is you don't commit it to memory, you commit a master password to memory, and to access it you use your thumbprint ID and all this stuff to make sure you can't get in. Once you get in, you can also hide the password for anyone to see, but that allows you to create really detailed passwords. Like LastPass will sometimes auto-generate the password, and it's like a 15-character password.
It's impossible, and it's caps on.
It's caps on, and you're like, no one's ever getting into this, and I will never remember it, but I want to use it, and as long as I know my master password and I have my ID and my thumbprint check, really safe and secure.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last one, the big accounting one, and again, we left this to last because obviously it's one of the ones that you don't think about as being important, but it's your accounting software. Yeah,
the tool to invoice clients, to add your bills in, to track when certain bills need to be paid, track your invoicing to determine, have your customers paid. It's got the features of automatic reminders. So if an invoice goes 1 day overdue or 7 days overdue, you can set up 3, 4, 5 email reminders. It all happens in the background. So it's a great tool for just managing your invoicing.
They're all great things, but at the same time, the biggest part is your bookkeeping, your tax, your reconciliation, and knowing if you're making money. That's a big part of Xero. So Xero is just an accounting software. The competitors are MYOB, QuickBooks, Intuit is another one.
Yeah, that's part of
Wave. No?
Zoho Books.
There's heaps. There's heaps of shit ones. That's the reality. If you are not using Xero, you're literally going to put yourself back. In a year or two time, you're going to kill yourself.
Once again, Xero is almost like the Chrome style version of like an accounting view, and it's even though those other listed programs, applications, they do have the ability of add-ons. Once again, Xero has that ability of add-ons. It's like your Chrome in accounting, and essentially, you can add on multiple other different service or app providers, and it's just a great tool for that. So the amount of data and information that you can pull out of it is unbelievable.
So that's the more detailed ones. Before we go at the end of the day, Oz, we're just going to list the other ones that we use without talking about them. Our most favorable other ones. We could talk about a tech stack forever today. We are big in terms of productivity in here, like I mentioned. The big ones that we haven't talked about, Slack, massive.
Yeah, huge.
Got to get on Slack. For marketing, our websites, MailChimp, our websites on Squarespace, which I just think is fantastic. What else do we have there? Notion. Notion is, these guys hate it. I love it. It's how we track business projects. Oz hates it. Sam hates it. Gav hates it. Too bad, so sad. Notion.
And we've got, Carbon for obviously accounting.
Carbon for
Ignition.
Practice Ignition for engagement letters.
Engagement letters.
Gosh, we got heaps, don't we? What else do we use? No, I think that's really the main ones. The marketing ones are really interesting. There's obviously a lot out there. Slack is probably the one I should just say you have to get. As your team grows for communication, limiting emails, get on Slack.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We'll bring more episodes next week. If you want to follow or hit the like or subscribe, I really appreciate it. Thanks again.
A lot. Cheers. Bye.